She said. It was just dinner with my boss. I said. Then this is just divorce. She said it lightly, almost bored, like she was explaining a late train. It was just dinner with my boss. We were standing in the kitchen. The light above the sink flickered the way it always did when the voltage dipped, and for some reason that tiny, stupid detail burned itself into my memory. I remember thinking how strange it was that the world could look exactly the same while something inside you quietly collapsed. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse her. I didn't even ask the questions that were screaming in my head. Why it wasn't mentioned before, why her phone was on silent, why her perfume was stronger than usual, why the dinner ran late on a night she knew mattered to me. I just looked at her and said, "Then this is just divorce." She laughed at first. A soft, dismissive laugh like I'd made a joke that didn't quite land. "You're being dramatic," she said. "He's my boss. Networking dinners happen." I nodded. I even smiled. That's the part people don't understand later, the smile. It wasn't rage. It wasn't jealousy. It was clarity. Because in that moment I realized this wasn't about dinner. It was about how easily she minimized something that crossed a line we had drawn together years ago. It was about how comfortable she was watching me doubt my own instincts. That night I slept on the couch. Not because I was hurt, but because I needed space to think clearly. And clarity, once it arrives, is ruthless. Over the next few days, I became calm in a way that unnerved her. I didn't argue. I didn't sulk. I went to work on time. I cooked my own meals. I started making lists. She, on the other hand, grew restless. She kept trying to reopen the conversation, always framed as my problem. "You're overreacting. You're insecure. Why are you trying to punish me?" I never answered those questions. I was busy doing something far more effective. I was listening. I listened when she complained to her sister on the phone, assuming I couldn't hear. I listened when she mentioned casually that her boss was going through a divorce too. I listened when she talked about how unfair it was that I didn't trust her anymore. Trust. That word gets abused until it means nothing. A week later I met with a lawyer. Quietly. Professionally. I learned things she assumed I didn't know. About shared assets, about timelines, about what screenshots and bank statements can prove when stories start changing. Another week passed. She started acting sweet. Too sweet. Cooking my favorite meals. Touching my arm when she spoke. Telling me I was the only one who really understood her. It was almost impressive how quickly fear can masquerade as affection. Then came the mistake. She left her laptop open on the dining table while she showered. A message popped up. Just a preview. Her name followed by a heart followed by, "Last dinner was worth the risk." I didn't explode. I didn't confront her. I took a photo. Then another. Then I closed the laptop exactly the way I'd found it. Revenge, if you do it right, is quiet. 2 weeks later I told her we needed to talk. She rolled her eyes, already tired of the conversation she thought she controlled. I handed her an envelope. Inside were the divorce papers, already filed, already stamped. She flipped through them, confused. "You can't be serious." I slid my phone across the table. The screenshots. The dates. The restaurant receipts she'd forgotten were synced to our shared account. The hotel charge she hadn't explained yet. Her face drained of color. "You went through my things?" I leaned back. "You went through our marriage." That's when the panic hit. The apologies came fast and messy. Tears. Promises. Excuses. She said it meant nothing. She said she felt lonely. She said she never thought I'd actually leave. That was the cruelest part. Not the dinner, not even the lies. It was the assumption that I would always stay. But the story didn't end there. Consequences rarely stop at the door you think they will. Her workplace had a strict policy about relationships between management and subordinates. Something she'd once mentioned with a laugh, confident it would never apply to her. The evidence was submitted anonymously. Cleanly. No drama. By the time the divorce was finalized, she wasn't just losing a husband. She was on extended leave pending investigation. Her boss stopped answering her messages. The dinners stopped. The promises evaporated. She tried to call me then. A lot. Late nights. Early mornings. Long texts about memories and regret, and how unfair life was being to her. I never replied. Months later, I ran into her by accident at a grocery store. She looked smaller somehow. Tired. She tried to smile, but it didn't quite work. I didn't think you'd really disappear, she said. I nodded politely. You said it was just dinner. She opened her mouth to respond, then closed it again. There was nothing left to minimize. As I walked away, I felt something unexpected. Not triumph, not bitterness, but relief. Revenge isn't about watching someone suffer. It's about reclaiming the part of yourself that was slowly being convinced to accept less than the truth. She lost a marriage because she thought honesty was optional. I gained my life back because I learned that walking away at the right moment is the coldest and cleanest revenge there is.